Found out my kids aren't mine after 20 years. Got revenge on our 23rd anniversary. I never thought I'd be the guy writing a story like this. For over 20 years, I thought I had a pretty great life. I, 45M, married my wife Karen, 44F, when we were both in our early 20s. We had two beautiful kids together, Jake, 22M, and Emma, 20F. I worked hard, gave my family everything they needed, and honestly believed that Karen and I had a solid marriage. Sure, we had our ups and downs, but who doesn't after 2 decades together? Turns out my life has been one big lie. About a year ago, Jake had to get some medical testing done for a minor issue. They ran some genetic tests, and long story short, things didn't add up. The doctor explained that his blood type and a few other factors didn't match mine in a way that should have been possible. I didn't think much of it at first, but the more I thought about it, the more it started to eat at me. I ended up doing one of those at-home DNA test kits for both Jake and Emma. I figured if Jake's test was off, maybe there was some sort of weird mistake. When the results came back, I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. Neither Jake nor Emma was biologically mine. Not even a shred of my DNA in them. I was devastated. I didn't confront Karen right away. I was in shock, disbelief. I couldn't understand how this could happen. For 20+ years, I raised these kids, loved them like my own, and Karen never once let on that they weren't mine. I had to know more before I made any moves. I hired a private investigator. It didn't take long before the truth came out. Karen had been cheating on me with the same guy for most of our marriage. This wasn't just some random fling. This guy was a close family friend, Mark, 48M. I had no idea. He had been over to our house for barbecues, helped me with house projects, and even came to the kids' birthday parties. I felt sick knowing this man had been around, knowing full well the kids were his. I wanted revenge, but I didn't want to just confront her in private. No, I wanted to make sure this blew up in the biggest way possible. Our 23rd wedding anniversary was coming up, and Karen had planned a big dinner party at our house with close friends and family. She was so excited about it, saying she had a surprise planned for me. Little did she know, I had the ultimate surprise ready for her. The day of the anniversary party, I acted like nothing was wrong. I put on my best smile and greeted everyone as they arrived, including Mark, who had the audacity to show up with his wife. He didn't know I knew yet, which made this all the sweeter. As everyone gathered around the table for dinner, Karen stood up to make a speech about our wonderful life together. That's when I cut her off. I stood up, raised my glass, and said, "Before we go any further, I have a special surprise for Karen." I pulled out a stack of envelopes and started handing them out to everyone at the table. Inside were copies of the DNA test results for both Jake and Emma, along with a detailed report from the private investigator that outlined Karen and Mark's 20-year affair. You could hear a collective gasp as people started reading. Karen went pale, her face completely frozen. Mark's wife burst into tears, and Mark looked like he was going to throw up. I let the silence linger for a few seconds before saying, "Karen, after 23 years of marriage, I thought you deserved to know that I found out the truth. Jake and Emma aren't mine, and you've been lying to me for over 2 decades. Mark, you're their father, and don't think for a second I didn't know about the affair. So happy anniversary, Karen. You and Mark can go explain this to your kids now." With that, I left. I packed a bag that morning and had a hotel room booked. I wanted nothing to do with the aftermath. I filed for divorce the next day and cut off contact with Karen and Mark completely. As for the kids, I'm still trying to figure out my relationship with them. I love them, and they're innocent in all of this. But it's been hard to separate my feelings of betrayal. They've been struggling with the truth too, knowing the man they call Dad isn't their real father, but I've been there for them as much as I can. Karen's life, well, from what I've heard, it's in ruins. Mark's wife left him. Karen's friends have all turned their backs on her, and she's been a social pariah since the truth came out. I haven't spoken to her since the party, and honestly, I feel like I've finally gotten the closure I needed. Revenge isn't always sweet, but exposing her lies in front of everyone she cared about. That was the only gift I needed on our 23rd anniversary.